Hi, I'm Kieran Cunningham. Donegal go to Killarney on Saturday for the most eagerly awaited Gaelic football match of the year. It's actually their fourth meeting in less than 12 months. Donegal have won two, Kerry just won, but Kerry comfortably won the one that really matters. These are the two favourites for Sam Maguire, but their rivalry is a very recent one. For most of the GA's existence, Donegal simply weren't in Kerry's radar. It took Donegal until 1972 to win their first Ulster title. That was the year Kerry won their 51st Munster crown. They didn't meet at the championship until as recently as 2012. That was an All Ireland quarter final. And it says a lot that when the Donegal players look back on that year, a year when they won the All Ireland, that was the game they referenced more often than the later wins over Cork and Mayo. It says a lot too than Jim McGuinness's first year as Donegal manager, 2011, that he talked of Kerry and his great respect for them because they're the best team, in his words, at thinking their way through matches. 5 years before that 2012 meeting, Donegal beat Kerry in a league game in Letterkenny, a very rare win at the time over the Kingdom. The reaction of some of the panel was to celebrate for the guts of 3 days. That didn't go down well with centre forward Mickey Hegarty, who gave the timeless verdict, only a dog would go drinking on the Tuesday. That was Donegal pre-Jim McGuinness, talented but flaky, a big team for the small occasion. Within the county, many dismissed them as Spice Boys. McGuinness changed all that. He comes from Glenties, one of the homes of Donegal fiddle music, and McGuinness brought some of the disciplined wildness of that style to the football pitch. Donegal traditional music bears the influence of Scotland due to historical migration ties and curiously of Poland. McGuinness too has brought outside influences to bear on his team's play. The influence of his time in soccer is clear. Goalkeeper as playmaker, zonal defence with a couple of delegated markers, pacey players pushed forward to press high up the pitch, lightning counter-attacks, an emphasis on set plays. There are plenty who would tell you that Kerry aren't anything like that the Kerry way is free and easy, catch and kick as ordained by Dick Fitzgerald well over a century ago. Football is a pure expression of land and people and tradition, but Kerry's greatest tradition is winning. It was said of Fianna Fáil that the party's only ideology is being in power. Kerry's guiding principle is winning. They do whatever it takes. Walk to Croke Park in Dublin city centre and you'll pass the house where the great playwright Sean O'Casey was born and raised. Such a walk on the day of the league final between Donegal and Kerry took me past the Abbey Theatre as well, which was running a 100th anniversary production of O'Casey's masterpiece, The Plough and the Stars. After Donegal's unexpected and comfortable win over a curiously out of sorts Kerry, it was hard not to think of the most famous lines from that play, when Captain Boyle gets all philosophical with Joxer. And as it blowed and blowed, I often looked at the sky and asked myself the question, what is the stars? What is the stars? And then I'd have another look and I'd ask myself, what is the moon? Kerry ate Donegal without salt last July in the All-Ireland final. So what did this strange March Sunday in Croke Park mean? We kept asking the question, what is the league? Down gave us the answer in Letterkenny, putting Donegal to the sword with astonishing ease. Kerry have had a bad run of injuries, and key players have been missing. Donegal were really only missing Micheál Langen against Down, but they looked all at sea without him. Plenty departed the panel over the winter, and suddenly the panel looked very light. None of the Donegal subs performed on the day. It said a lot too that McGuinness only used 4 of them. Kerry, for their part, notched up Munster title number 87, and for all their injuries, were still able to hold Killian Spillane and Tony Brosnan in reserve as backup forwards. What other county would be able to do that? 2 of Kerry's sweetest All-Irelands came against Jim McGuinness's Donegal. He had to show his hand in the league final to try and atone for last July. Kerry are primed and ready, and they know what to expect. Let's rewind over a decade to the INEC in Killarney in December of 2014. The occasion was the presentation of All-Ireland medals to the Kerry footballers, who were managed at the time by Eamon Fitzmaurice. He made the keynote speech and he held the audience in the palm of his hand. Then on a whim he recited 4 lines of a poem, Duchas by Gary McMahon. Grey lakes and mountains soaring high, Mount Brandon's holy hill, the little church at Gallerus, our language living still, the Skellig rock, stout football stock, they can't be bought or sold. For our country's fame we play the game in the kingdom's green and gold. Duchas is one of those Irish words with no direct English equivalent. Some translate it as instinct, others as heritage. Really, it's a mixture of both. What we do know for sure is that Duchas matters to Kerry, and matters a lot. Michael Murphy, Donegal's talisman, he got away with a box in the league final, and in the pages of the Irish Times, Kerry great Dara O'Shea called for Old Testament retribution. A guiding principle for Kerry has always been this: hammer the hammer. Even now, 19 years after his Donegal debut, Murphy is still Donegal's hammer. Saturday's game could hinge on what he does and doesn't do, and what he's allowed to do. Even though they're likely to be depleted, Kerry have the Killarney factor. They have that bone-deep and age-old intent to put down all pretenders and contenders. Donegal will be much better than they were against Down, but they need too much to go right to get a third one against Kerry of 2026. But don't rule out another meeting before the season's turn.